Well, hello again. You've stumbled upon to either my second or third diary entry of this non-famous actor. I saw a couple movies this weekend and I had the thought of, before seeing both of them, I was like, will this be an interesting double feature? And so I thought it would be kind of cool to look at both of them and share whether or not they ended up being good as a double feature or not. So I call this new mini series, mini entry series, Does It Double Feature? Technically, anything can be a double feature, of course, but I feel like since 2023, when we had Barbenheimer, Hollywood and other people are trying to recreate that magic and try to dub different things like the next Barbenheimer, and I feel like nothing's really stuck. And honestly, it's kind of one of those things where when you do a double feature, you either might stumble upon something that is actually kind of a cool combo because it's so different. These two movies are so different, like the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer, or you may find that there's actually more similarities between the two films than you realize. And so I just thought it'd be fun to kind of look at that. So this past weekend, I went and saw The Testament of Anne Lee and 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. And so I'll just kind of break down those two and we'll decide if it double features. So of the two, I started out with The Testament of Anne Lee, and I went to see it at this theater in Seattle called SIFF Uptown. SIFF stands for Seattle International Film Festival, and they actually own a handful of independent studios in the city. So it is always a real cool, real treat to be able to see films at any of those locations. And basically, it's in the film community. Can't talk. In the film community, I'm sure that people have heard of this. It's with Amanda Seyfried. It is about a real person, Anne Lee, who started out in England as like a Methodist / Quaker, and then kind of deviates off and starts her own more radical sect. And so basically it is looking at her life, basically through the course of her childhood to her death in this movie. And I loved it. I didn't know what to expect whatsoever from the trailers, but I knew I liked Amanda Seyfried. It's kind of artsy, and I do like those movies. It's like just pretentious enough. And but I actually liked it a lot more than I was thinking that I would. One thing is that before we went to see it, my partner David and I, we were looking and it said musical / drama as the genre. And we were like, it's a musical? Like, I didn't get that vibe, right? And so I was like, maybe it's just got musical elements. But no, it is actually a musical, which may deter some people. But the thing is that with a regular musical, you kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit when you're going in, because you just have to be like, okay, in this world with these circumstances, people are going to randomly break out into song and potentially song and dance. But it felt so natural with the subject matter. Like, basically, you didn't have to go in thinking, okay, now they're going to go into a musical number, blah, blah, blah. Like, because of the nature of this sect of Quakers, literally, like, that's what they do when they're worshiping, is that they get these whole body things, and so they're doing these movements that are almost dance-like, and there's like things that they're doing with their voice, and so it's like singing or comes out as song. You can really believe that in the circumstances these people are going around just in their day-to-day life or in their regular worship, that they would break out and start doing that. That is completely in the realm of possibility for them. And because of that, when it would happen in the movie, it didn't feel like I was like, okay, now we're in a musical number. Like, I am seeing real life. This is what they're doing. So I thought that was really, really cool, especially for somebody who does like musicals. I really do love them. And so, I would have been fine if it was done a more traditional way, but I was really captivated by the route that they went with that. And naturally, Amanda Seyfried does an amazing job. This is one of her best roles I have ever seen her in. I would not be mad if she won Best Actress. That being said, I haven't seen all of the potential nominees. They haven't even formally announced like the Oscar nominees, so I don't know, but I do love it. And I do love her performance and everything. I was low-key sad that I did not have the opportunity to audition for this role, because even to be a background person doing the movement, because that's where I originally started with performing, was doing like dance and everything. Such a good opportunity. So too bad, maybe next time something else like this will come. So lots of people will rate movies based off of, 1 to 10 or, out of 5 stars or whatever. I kind of do a rating system, but I don't really like formally give a number. I just have like my Letterboxd list, and then I'm putting down all of the new movies I've seen for the year, and then I kind of rank them based off of a balance in my head of artistic things, performance, how things are executed, blah, 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 as well as the enjoyability factor. So it's a little bit vague, so it may not make sense if you guys do check out this list. I'm linking it below so you can check it out, but I did put this movie at number 2 on my spot, which may be insane for some people, but that's how much I enjoyed it. And I would love to hear from you guys what you thought, if you have seen it, what you thought about it. Did you love it? Like, what are your thoughts? All that. Specifically, if you didn't like it, did it make you angry? I only ask because I was in the bathroom line after the movie, and there were these 2 friends behind me, and one of them was talking about how she loved it, and the other friend said that not only did she hate it, but it made her angry. And I was so perplexed because I'm like, I don't know if there's anything in the movie that would make somebody angry, but I guess I don't know for sure. So let me know if I missed something there. So then later on in the day, we went to our local Regal and we saw 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And this one is really interesting. I'm not usually as big of a fan of horror, and so I will say that I was more excited for the first movie versus this one. I did really enjoy this one as well. I think that they do a really good job. I think some of the movies in the like 28 horror universe are not always the best. I did see the first one, which is a very interesting watch, just because like you can really tell what was almost trendy at the time, because I think it was like the very early 2000s that the first one was made, 28 Days Later. And I think that with this new kind of trilogy of movies from last year, 28 Years Later, and this one, The Bone Temple, they did a really good job at taking the essence of what the original was and then carrying it and looking forward into the future of what happens with this outbreak and everything. So I really commend them for that. And there's something, so I don't even know how to describe this. There's something, one, very British about this story in this universe and how everything's shot. I don't know how to describe it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. There is just something a little different about it, different approach. It's kind of like if you ever look at like French movies and you can tell that it's a French film before they even say that it was like made in France or the director's French. So sort of a similar thing here, I think. And then also there are some horror films that again appear more highbrow, and then there's ones that are very like, blood and guts and blah everywhere. And this series is not either of those, but I do feel like it kind of lands in a little more of like an accessible zone. And I don't mean accessible like anything gets dumbed down or whatever, but I do feel like it is packaged in such a way where it is, really enjoyable for a wider audience. It's like a little more commercial, which again is not a bad thing. it's good. I think that you should have more films like that, and that the horror is in such a way that like maybe people who don't usually watch horror a whole lot could still enjoy this movie. It doesn't have like a crazy amount of jump scares. There's no like supernatural element to it, stuff like that. And in general, there's something that is more original about the take of a zombie horror film, and I do think they do a really good job with that. They did so in the very beginning with the first movie, and again, I think that they've carried it out and done really interesting things with like, okay, now that this outbreak has been around for literally 28 years, like what does that look like? And I do think that's really interesting, the direction that they go with it. And I was also surprised at how much like religion slash just general belief, spirituality, whatever, was present in this film based on the direction that they went and the characters that they were focusing on. I just thought that was really interesting. It was kind of a nice extra depth to that movie. So I did really enjoy it as well. This was the first new movie that I saw for 2026. So I do have my list created for Letterboxd. I put it up. Obviously, it's the first one, so it's not ranked anywhere. I anticipate that it probably won't be in my top 10, unless we just, you know, I don't know, have like a really weird year. It'll probably be somewhere more in the middle as time goes on, as the year goes on, and that's totally fine. Yeah, I guess I would probably end up giving it, if I did a star system, something like a 3.5 out of 5, I guess. I don't know. So between these two films, does it double feature? I would say yes, because both actually deal with sorts of different levels of religion and belief and maybe even religious fanaticism, and it's really an interesting pairing. So there's a little more in common than you would expect theme-wise, which is cool. That's kind of a cool thing. And I'm biased, you know, because I watched Anne Lee first and then The Bone Temple, and so I kind of like this idea of, oh yeah, looking at kind of like the light, very Christian side of things, and then there's something very dark with this other one. But of course, you know, if you like to end on a lighter note, flip it, you know, I don't know, whatever works for you. And when I do find movies that have similarities in themes, especially when they are released so close, or, you know, pretty close, within a year of each other, then I do kind of like to think about what patterns of thinking are going on in our society, right? And so I have noticed that there are people who are, even if they're not religious, they are thinking about spirituality and specifically like the mystical side of it, and kind of like thinking a little more like on the fringes of what religion is, and not very like in a conventional way. And I think that these two films are good examples of people looking at that. I have no idea if these directors, these writers are religious, but I do think it's really interesting to see them examining that sort of thing. And so, you know, it'll be interesting to see if there are additional films either from 2025 that I haven't seen yet, or moving forward this year, that might have those as well. And maybe that's a recurring theme. I also saw somebody say that some of the other potential Oscar nominees for 2025 have themes of motherhood. I don't know for sure if I would agree with that, because I haven't seen all of them. Definitely there's like a mother aspect of Testament of Anne Lee, and so we'll see, you know, if that is also like a pattern, and if so, why is that? That's interesting. So that's what I have so far. Do you have any opinions on either of these movies? Would you try this double feature? Are there other double features that you want me to try, whether it's this year, last year, or any other years of films? I would love to do that. I thought this was really fun, and I would love to continue to do that if you guys are interested, and add this to my my little diary entries. So let me know if you enjoyed this. I do lots of film stuff. I've got lots of behind the scenes stuff for projects that I'm working on as well. You'll see that I am starting a pilot and working on that and producing, and that'll be the first time I'm doing that. So I am you know, kind of recording this as well for posterity in this video diary. So if all of that interests you, please subscribe. That would be really, really cool. And then hopefully I can get more eyes on these projects as we move forward. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.